Hello, everyone, and welcome to Power Hour. Today's topic is using the AI prompt builder in the Power Platform and then using the custom prompts that you build in a Power App. It's going to be so much fun. So here is the stinger. Welcome again. I'm Laura Rogers. This is Joelle Jobson in the little screen, and this is Power Hour. Our company's IW Mentor. We teach online training courses and all these Microsoft 365 technologies, and we've been doing Power Hour over 10 years, just doing different topics for business users and power users. So this is all. We're not super technical. This is all kind of geared towards that sweet spot of not programmers, but really kind of power users and business users in Power Apps, Power Automate, SharePoints, various other Power Platform technologies, Teams, Forms, just all those different apps within Microsoft 365 that we cover Wednesdays at 11. So I send out a newsletter the day before, and you will vote on what the topic's going to be. So this one is really fun, is the AI Prompt Builder, which I've had a lot of fun playing with ever since, yesterday afternoon when a lot of the votes came in. It was overwhelming votes, by the way, Joelle. It was like the votes for this one had like 3 times the other one. So it was really easy early on to know which one was going to win. So I'll go ahead and get started sharing my screen and then kind of explain what some of this stuff is. So let me get situated here. Where's my screen? I got this third monitor and it's hard to see what's on the screen when there we go. I think that's it. No. Oh my gosh, that looks wild.
Infinite.
Okay, there it goes. Ooh, that was almost gave me a headache there for a second. All right, so here's my screen and we'll get Power Apps pulled up. So where you're going to start to do all the stuff we're doing is just in Power Apps. So that's, you can go to web.powerapps.com or make.powerapps.com. And once you're in there, you and I just created a temporary environment just for fun to do this in. No particular reason. I go to the AI Hub. And the AI Hub is where you're going to go to AI prompts. Now, I think we've had I'm pretty sure we did a Power Hour in the past of doing this sort of document, the document automation where you could like input like an invoice or something like that, and it scans it and extracts. This is not the same thing. So from this AI Hub, you're going to click on AI prompts. And this is what we're going to be working with today. So I'm going to give examples, a lot of these different ones. And I put resources in the chat, so in Teams. So this, for if you're new, this is the general channel that you'll get added to when you get invited. And we have a tab for the last few Power Hours up here. And then once you're on that tab, you click the little chat box, and then you can watch the video and do the chat. Hello, Lisa. Hello, Robin. And then we also have notes here. So I started just kind of putting all the notes on this one screen. So here's the AI Prompt Builder notes. Prompt engineering made easier with AI Builder. That is what's going to tell us, it's going to kind of list what all these are. So first of all, you have, and I'll just kind of show you up here across the top what they are. So the first one here is summarize text. So that's kind of similar to what we have with when you're in a Word document and you have Copilot and you can just use Copilot to just summarize the document. That's kind of the same thing here. But what I'm going to use in the example today will be a resume. So we'll get it to summarize a resume. And then I'm just going to overview these first, and then I'll kind of deep dive into each one of them. And then AI Classify is where you're going to classify a certain given set of piece of text or paragraph into a category, and you can give it your own categories. And the AI will just read the text and determine what category it goes in. And then the next one is going to be reply. And this is going to create a response to the person that has maybe submitted a help desk ticket or submitted a complaint or written a review on your site or something like that. This is where you can have a reply to them, and you describe in the prompt how you want it to reply. And then extract is going to be, you're telling it specific information to extract from some text that you give it, and what structure, you can tell it what structure you want it to be in. And then sentiment is sentiment analysis, which means it's going to basically let you know if something is positive, negative, or neutral. So you could say like, read this tweet or something and tell me if it's positive, negative, or neutral, or a review or something like that. And it just gives one of those 3 responses. So it's pretty simple. All right, so the first one that I'm going to go into is I had some fun kind of with this help desk ticket concept. So the first one I did was classify help tickets. So what you're going to do is, the way these work is, it's basically, so we kind of talked about the concept of prompts, right, last time, or all the different power hours where we've talked about Copilot, we talked about the concept of prompts. So what you're going to do is, the purpose of these custom prompts is to be able to have a lot of the prompt written for you. So it's just basically all this verbiage is what it's going to tell AI. It's going to tell Copilot, and then Copilot's going to do whatever it says, but you're customizing it so that the person interacting with, say, your Power App doesn't have to type all this. They just can click a button and it will do kind of what you've determined here in your prompt. Now, real quick, you don't have to use one of these predetermined little templates. You can just create text with GPT using a prompt and just start off completely blank and just make whatever you want. But these examples kind of give you at least an idea of how to start and maybe how to tweak them. So for the first one with classifying text, this is where we're going to classify help tickets. So all I did was when you create a new one, I'll just create a new one and just show you what it looks like to create a new one, and then I'll use the one that I already created. So you just click the category, the little template you want to use, and now you're already editing a new one. So here's where you can change the name of it. Let's see, classify test. So that's what I'm changing the name of it over here. And then the inputs, this one has 2 inputs. It has classify some piece of text into, and then it has categories. So these are where you have your dynamic information. So you can create more inputs. They're all just text. You can create more inputs if you want to have more sort of variables, like dynamic information being passed to it. So like, for example, if my categories for my help tickets are just the same categories like hardware, software, like I don't need that to be dynamic. I could just type it in here and not have to have a variable for it. So you're building your prompt here, and then you can test it as you're building it. So in this example, what I can do is I use Copilot to kind of create some fake help tickets for me. And let me go over to my other, I'm going to pull up Copilot just to help me create some fake stuff. So what you do to test it is, it's kind of not the most intuitive for testing it because it just says test prompt here. But what you do is you have to expand these inputs, and then you have to type your sample data here in the inputs. So like my categories are hardware, software, login, issue, I'll just keep it at that. And then what you're going to do is put, like, I'll just say my keyboard is broken, fixed. There. So that's the input of what the help ticket is. And you can change what this says too, like help ticket. And then you can change the name of any of your inputs and then test it. Okay, and then it just says hardware. Sorry, I was pulling up my little fake help tickets that I created over here. So here is another one. I'll do another test. I've got the same categories. I'll paste it in here. I've been locked out of my account, blah, 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 test it. And then it says login issue. So it's just quickly taking the piece of text that I give it and categorizing it. So that looks like that's good. A couple of other settings here. Now this, is kind of a brand new product. So one thing you can do is you can add data. So if you have data in Dataverse, you can click add data and you can refer to your data in the prompts, in the sort of the input variables here. I have not done that. I was trying to make this kind of a quick demo, so I do not have it referring to any data. I did not build a database with information in it for this. And it's also brand new. It's in preview. And then there's a setting that's got a temperature. This is interesting. It says lower temperatures lead to predictable results, while higher temperatures will allow more diverse or creative responses. So maybe I like creative, so I kind of raise the temperature a little bit. So that is where then I'd click save my custom prompt. So what I've done already is for classifying help tickets is I've got my two inputs. I've got the help ticket and then the input categories. And then I've, is that the one that's not the one I just created, is it? That's the one. Yeah, that's the one that I already built. Okay. Yeah, an hour ago. I just want to make sure that wasn't the one that I just did. Okay, so then what I've done here is you can change what the verbiage says. So I tweaked this a little bit. You can change it to what you're telling the AI to do. Like I'm saying, analyze the key themes and context of the provided text and classify it to the most appropriate category. So you can tweak this verbiage to be per whatever, whatever your system is, or whatever your help system or your tickets or whatever you're doing, and change this verbiage. And of course you can insert the variables in here, the little inputs to the prompt. So this is my prompt. It's called Classify Help Tickets. So what I've done, I'll show you what I built, and then I'll show you how I built it. This is so fun. All right, let me just go ahead and open a new tab. Oops, what did I do? Web.powerapps.com. And then go to apps. And so this is the Help Desk Issues app that I built. And the thing about these Copilot connectors, though, is they're premium. So anybody using the app would have to have premium licenses. And it warns you that when you click the share button to share it with other users, it says all these users need to have a Power Apps license for this. So it's not just like an E1 license, it's an extra, and it's got that little diamond next to it as a connector. So I'll show you what I did, and then I'll I'll do another one. I'll do a new one. So I've got classify help tickets. I've added this here. So when you go to add data, so I named my prompt classify help tickets. So when you go to add data, all I had to do was type classify help tickets. See, and it's going to have that little AI icon, and then that's how you add your data source. So that's how you can refer to it. And then again, they've got the little diamond next to it. So I quickly whipped up this very ugly help desk app, and I'll go ahead and create a new help desk ticket. And then I'm going to say I want a printer malfunction. And then, of course, in your app, in the real world, you could have a lot of this stuff automated, but I've created buttons here to be able to show you specifically what it's doing. So I'll click classify, and that's where it's going to classify it into a category. So look at that. It put a category here in the category drop-down box. And then look at this. I can click reply, and this is another prompt that I'll be showing you. and that's going to have, thank you for reaching out to us, blah, 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 blah. Basically, it's letting you know, it's kind of letting the user know a response very specific to what they're asking about. And sometimes it will even offer suggestions. So let's see, I've got one. Let me do a different one. See if it goes again. Thank you for reaching out to us with your concern. We apologize for the inconvenience. And then it's got some suggestions, like it's actually reading this and it knows technical answers to give them. Clear your cache, update your email client, check for conflicting software. So it's got all this stuff that the AI can actually help the person already before they've even clicked save on their ticket. So I'll go ahead and just save that. And then, so that's the kind of real world example of how you could use a couple of these things. And I'll go ahead and go to just create a new screen to just show you the basics of how this works. New screen. All right, so first of all, I'll go ahead and let me show you where these instructions are. These are in those links that I sent you. This is the one that says use your prompt in Power Apps. And that's where you can get those. It's just got step-by-step instructions. So what you do is you're going to insert a button. And the button is what is going to basically call this, this AI. So I'll just say summarize. And then the button is you have to tell it what you want it to summarize. So then I'd have to have like a text box to put some kind of data that I want it to summarize. So text input. And then I will, on select, that's where it tells you you're basically putting it in a variable. So you're saying set, and then I'll call it var summarize. And then what do I want my variable to be? And then that's where I'm going to say, give the name of that connector. So that's, let's see. Oh, this one was classify. So I'll just use classify. Yeah, whatever. Var classify test. I already have one called classify 2, classify 2. It's just so I have a new variable. And then see the names of these over here on the left? You just type the name. So classify and then .predict. So you're setting the variable to just what that is, .predict. Now, this one, let me see. This one has two different, let me make sure I did that right. Oh yeah, no, I have to tell it which text box to predict. That's important. So I have to say predict based on what's in here. So that's, I'll just say txt. I keep saying predict, it's classify. So this is a text box that I called txt classify text. And so I have to tell it to look at that text, whatever's typed in it. And what's it doing now? Oh yeah. So it says it expects 2 to 3 values, and that is because the classify has 2 different prompts in it, has 2 different inputs. So it wants to have the help ticket and also categories. So one thing I can do is I can just, if I want those to be hard coded and I don't want to have to type categories in, I can just delete this and say software, hardware, login issues. And I can just type them and I can just delete my input category. So then it's not gonna, the prompt, when I'm setting the variable, is not going to be asking me for 2 different things if I only have 1 input. So if you have 2 inputs, that information that you're typing in when you're setting the variable in the Power App is going to have a comma, and it's going to have 2 different things in it. This is similar to the concept of when you're kicking off a flow from a Power App And depending on how many inputs that the flow has, then you have to tell the Power App, like you have to comma delimit them in the parameters from the Power App. So same concept. So now I've done this for a couple of these where I've removed one of the inputs, and it takes a while, I think, for that setting to go into effect. So I'm not sure how fast that's going to go into effect. So I'll just put like, let me see. Yeah, see, it expects 2 to 3. I was trying to just like put something in there and not have to. Okay, I'm gonna skip that because I want to wait till it resets and wait till it knows that I took away one of the settings. So I'm gonna do the reply one, and all I have to do for the reply one is just change this verbiage right here to reply, and then I have to put a third box on my screen to show the reply, to just display what's in that variable. So I'm setting a variable with whatever the AI is going to generate, and then I need to display what the AI is going to generate. So I'm saying dun, 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 and then I'm going to say txt, and I called it txt classify text there. Dot value. Okay, and so that one is just one parameter, so you can kind of see, I like to show you troubleshooting steps during Power Hour because I like having mistakes and errors live online. So, all right, so I'm going to set it, and then I need to see the verbiage of what it's replying. So I'll go ahead and insert just text, just a blank text box here, and then take a look at the reply. I want the vertical line to be at the top. And this is kind of ugly, but it's just going to be var classify to is what I called that, dot text. And then let's try it. So this is the one that's replying to a help ticket. So I've got some fake help tickets. So let me go grab another fake help ticket and try this out. Oh, let me make this word wrap so that it's not so weird looking. Okay. Okay, so you can see the little dots going across the top, and there's my reply. Look how fast that is. Thanks for reaching out to us regarding the issue you're having with your VPN. We appreciate blah, blah, blah. We'll reach back and respond as soon as possible. So it gives them this nice, pretty verbiage. Now, another thing you could do with these is, this is a Power Apps demo, but these are also available in Power Automate. So if you want this email to go out in an email after they've submitted their ticket, you can, but sometimes they actually provide suggestions to the user like, hey, can you tell us a little bit more information, or can you try this? And so, I'm kind of debating, like when I was building this demo, whether the email would go out afterwards or whether they'd see it on the screen, because sometimes they ask them further questions. So that's kind of cool. So that's how the functionality is. So real quick, let me summarize. So you create the prompt. All these kind of work the same way as far as just the technical components of getting it to do what it's supposed to do in the Power App. So create the prompt here. Then in your Power App, you do add data, and you simply type the name of the prompt you created. And then the key here is that you're setting a variable. You're just making up some name for it. And then you're setting it to the name of your prompt .predict. And then after the .predict, you have to tell it where it's getting its text that it's going to insert as an input. All right, so that's what I've done in several places. So that's, let's go to the other screen here. So I'll show you how I did that in here. So I've got this, let me go ahead and do a new one real quick. So I've got this button here, and what it does This is the classify one. So I'm classifying the help desk tickets, and I was trying to give it just the little categories to classify it into here. So you could do that if you need it to be dynamic, if you need the categories themselves to be dynamics, because remember, you could type them, just hard code them in here, or have an input if you needed to be dynamic. And this one had it as an input. So I was kind of trying both things. I wanted to show you that you could have multiple inputs, but if you did, you'd have to just have a comma between them. So it's going to take the inputs, and then it's going to classify it into one of those categories. So I'll take that VPN one that I just did, and VPN. Are there any questions so far, Joelle?
Nope. I was like worrying because the chat was kind of quiet. I was like, I had to keep refreshing, make sure I wasn't having Teams issues. But Lisa said
so
her head's about to
right?
explode. Yeah, that's probably a big part of it.
Everybody's just like with their jaws on the ground. This is so cool. I've had a lot of fun playing with this today. So see, it categorized it. It put it as software. And then I'll click the reply, because I still have that old reply up there. So then I clicked reply again, and now it created a new reply for the VPN. So what you could do is you could say, like where it says dear user here, I could change that to be dynamic. So that could be one of my inputs. So maybe if I have time towards the end, we can start kind of tweaking this and giving it more inputs. But so far, those are two of the different categories that we're talking about. We have classify, which gives it like a category automatically, and then reply, which gives it this nice little dear user thing. So those are two. So then another one that we have is going to be using a help, not a help desk, a resume. So I think a resume is a great example for just summarizing text and a couple of the other things that we need to do. A little kind of fun background here is that I have, we have a customer that has an H-1B app, and they have a lot of H-1B candidates. They have like hundreds of them. And I created an app for them, and one of the, there's like a multi-line text box, like a rich text box in the app where the candidate pastes their full, their work history in this text box. So I feel like this would be a great type of app to be able to have just a quick button that will summarize that resume and just look at what's in the text box and summarize it. And another thing, this is funny, this is like 25 years ago, one of my first IT jobs, we were getting technical resumes, and it was like a headhunter, and we had to go get the resumes and pair them up with jobs. So I kind of had to scan through resumes. So one of the first things I did is I created macros in Word, and I created macros that would go through this resume in Word and go find their name, find their phone number, find their email address, find all their skills, put the skills in a separate list. So do all this stuff. And it took hours and hours and hours to build this crazy macro. But this thing does it in 5 minutes. So as far as how long it took to build this. So here is just an example of where you could have someone paste their resume. So I have a fake resume that I've created. Where did it go? Let me see. I have a resume that I created this with AI, of course, in Word, I use Copilot. So I'll just select this whole thing and copy it, and then show you what this looks like. Paste it in here. Homer Simpson, computer programmer. Summarize it. And it says blah, 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 blah. Homer Simpson is a computer programmer with experience in various roles, etc. So it has this nice little summary. And I could probably tell AI to make it shorter as well. I don't know if I need that long of a summary. And then I created an extract that will extract specific things. So it says their name, email, and skills were the 3 things that I wanted extracted. So there are those things. And that's exactly from my experience in having to comb through resumes, what I was doing. So I'll show you how I built these with summarize and extract. So here is my summarize resumes. So it says summarize the given. So I only have one input for this one. Oh, let me go ahead and exit out of the help desk one so that it can like refresh with those changes that I made. Just make sure it does that there. Okay. So summarize the given resume in a way that's easy to understand. So all I did was just change this to say resume, and I actually pasted sample data of an architect in here. And so you can see what it's going to look like as you're going. And then I want it to be shorter. So I want it to say, remove any repetitive elements to make the summary as concise as possible. Keep it down to, how many words should I say? Like 200 words. And then I'll test that again. Yeah, so it's much shorter. So I don't know, you know, in the real world, is that too short or you're not getting the information you need? But notice that you can just change the verbiage so that from now on, when people are in that app and they click the button, it's got a shorter, more concise summary of the resume. And again, you can change the temperature. You can change, it's got which version of GPT that you're on. So I changed it to 4. Increase the temperature up, and I'm not sure if changing it to GPT-4 is going to make much of a difference here. But yeah, there's my new resume summary. And this, I could see this like saving a lot of time for people who do things like this, where you have to, you know, kind of review things and read things and summarize things. All right, so I saved it. So when you save it, it doesn't close, so you just have to close it separately. And then here's the other one that we were doing is extracting information. So when you first click the extract information from text button, it's got this whole JSON thing that it's doing. And I think they're really just showing you that you can tell the AI exactly what structure to put the response in. So this is very cool that it's like it's telling it a structure, and then it's letting you kind of try it out. So if I use just this default template for the extraction, here's what it would look like. So I'll put my resume in here, and my sample data is, oh wait, let's see. Oh, entity to be just extracted is going to be like email, name, skills. So I tell it that's what I want to be extracted. See, because it says it's comma delimited, and then that's where I paste the resume and test it. So if I just use this out of the box, it provides the list in JSON. I don't need it in JSON though. So what I did for mine is I did a extract resume information, and I kind of just tweaked what they had here. So, and I just typed extract name, email address, and skills, and I deleted the second input. And then I just took out a bunch of the verbiage that it had about putting it in JSON. And I just gave it an example, and I said entity to be extracted, and then the value, and then the entity and the value. And then I'll test it. And then just like you saw in the app a minute ago, now it says name, John Doe, email, and then skills. So it's listing them down the page in the structure that I told it to list them, which is also very cool that you can tell it what the structure needs to be. So that's how that one works. And so we'll go back over to that resume. And so this is the box where I'm inputting the resume. It's just called text input canvas 1. I'll just say TXT resume. That's what the name of the box is. And then my summarize is going to say set var result, summarize resume. So I had to pull those in. I was testing like a project charter too. Summarize resumes, extract resume information. So there's what it looks like. So you just kind of have to think about like the way I took a couple of these and I applied it to a help desk ticket form, kind of think about how you would implement these in an actual Power App in the real world, and how, you know, how it might be helpful to have fields pre-filled or things like that. And then let me do extract also. So then this could also be in a form, just like that other one that I showed you. But that is how to do those other two. And let me know if you have any questions. Again, I think this is so cool and so much fun. I'm trying to think of ways, like apps that I've built, and you can brainstorm with me too. Think of apps that you've built that some of this might be helpful for the end users that are filling out whatever the forms are in your app. And then another one that we have not done yet is a sentiment analysis. So I wanted to build a brand new one with you here. So here's sentiment analysis. And you know what I'm going to do, since these take a minute to kind of refresh when you make changes to them for them to push over to the Power App, since I want that reply to help ticket to have the user's name in it, I'm going to go ahead before I go to that other one, and I'm going to put the user as a new input. So I'll put user here. So that way, when it responds, it can give their name. So address the person as, and then put user. There. And I'm not going to test that right now. I'm just going to save it. So I just wanted to have that kind of going in the background because I think it takes a few minutes for them to save. Also, I didn't change the temperature of that one. That's fine. All right. So sentiment analysis, it's just going to give basically positive, negative, or neutral. So evaluate the sentiment of the given input text. And you're looking at emotional tone, subtle language cues, and cultural or contextual factors. It just says to classify the tone of the text into categories positive, negative, or neutral. And then look for sarcasm, emoticons, or specialized terminology that could affect sentiment reading, blah, 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 blah. So I'm not sure that I need to tweak kind of what this verbiage says, but depending on what you're building and what your app is, you can tweak it to be more specific to what you're doing with it. So I'll go, let's see, I can test my prompt. Sentiment analysis of, I'll do like a fake customer review. So I'm going to use Copilot to do this. Write a one mean customer review. Like, okay. So I'm writing so I want to have a negative one. So I want to try out a negative one and see what it looks like. Copilot takes a minute sometimes. Okay. This is hilarious. Oh, look, insert. I can increase the font so you all can see this. The spike is a piece of junk. It broke down the first day I used it. So funny. All right, so I'll put this in the sentiment analysis and test. Negative, shocker. So that's how it's going to work. So I'll just call this the sentiment analysis of help ticket. So I can just put sentiment analysis of help ticket, and then I can include this in a field in the help ticket. I don't know. I don't know if you need to care about your sentiment of your help tickets, but I'll show you how I inserted it into a field and had it populate a field like I did for the other one. So let me go over to I think I had a help ticket. No. Oh, wait, I know. No, wait. What site was I on? I had help tickets. I think it's that one. Yeah. Okay. So I created help desk issues, and I just basically just used that template of just the issue list, and I just called it help desk issues. So I'll just add another column here, and that's going to be sentiment. And I'll just make it text. And now that I've added a new column, then in my help desk Power App. If I still had the Power App open, I would need to go refresh that data source since I added a new column, but I'm reopening it anyway. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the sentiment of whatever they type in the help desk the ticket description, and populate that sentiment into a field on the form. So I'm going to add a field, sentiment, and then I'm going to put, let's see, I want to see it higher up here. Okay. Category sentiment, and then I want to populate the sentiment with whatever the sentiment is using that prompt. So I have to pull the prompt in. So sentiment of help ticket. So yeah, be sure and pick the right one. Pick the one that you created, not those little out of the box ones. But you could just use the out of the box ones if you don't have anything custom you need to add to them. So I'm going to use my sentiment of help ticket. So when someone types their description in here, maybe I want it to, first of all, let me get a new form here. When someone types their description, I want it to populate this box with what the sentiment is. So, and I don't need the person to be able to edit this. So that's one thing that I can do with this card is just make it just viewable. And then they can't edit what's in there. They can just see it. So then I've got my sentiment. And what I need to do is do that same type of command. Like instead of classify, obviously, or apply, it would just be, I would just be adjusting it slightly and having the sentiment. All right. Let's see. Is there a question? Lisa said, is anyone else's head about to explode? Oh, yeah. Build is going on. Oh, oops. Yeah. Forgot about that. All right. So I'm going to take this button and I'm just going to copy it and paste the whole thing and make a couple of tweaks to it for sentiment. Var sentiment. And then I have to give it my sentiment. I have to give it the name of that .predict. And in the parentheses, I have to tell it what text I'm getting the sentiment of. So I've got my issue description. That is, I'm going to give this box a better name. TXT issue description. There. .text. Okay, and since I only have one input, it's pretty simple. And I got to change my verbiage of my button. Sentiment, and I love this new setting. Have you all seen this in Power Apps where you can get an emoji, an icon on the button? Very cool. Such a time saver, right? Because everybody likes to have those, and in the past you had to do two separate things. Okay, so I've got my sentiment button, so I'm going to take whatever I type in there and use that as my sentiment. And let's see. Copy. I've got that printer one. Let's see. Printer. Oh, I didn't tell it. There's another step. I didn't tell it which box to put the sentiment in. So it generated the variable, and then I'm not showing the variable anywhere. So I've got my, this is basically the text box that I want it to show in. Not that one, but that one. Okay. Unlock it. And then this is going to be the, if it's new. Anytime I want to pre-populate something in a text box in a form, I always make sure that it's only doing it on a new form. It's not going to like change itself later. So this is just, I I'll just show you the basics of how to reference that. Var sentiment.text. So there's my sentiment, negative. It is kind of negative. It's got a little negative spin to it. But if I only wanted to show this verbiage if the form is new, then I can add that. If form1.mode equals form_mode.new, and then show the sentiment. Otherwise, parent.default. And okay, and that's just the standard syntax that I use whenever I'm pre-populating any field. Okay, so it's got the negative sentiment. So let's see. I'll do a different one. See, it's regenerating it. Oh, is that one negative too? Oh man. I guess they're all negative because they're help tickets. They're all going to be negative. All right. So that's where I can put the sentiment, and that's kind of the same thing I did for the category. Is here in the text box for the default selected items. Since the default selected items property needs to potentially have a list of items, I had to put these little curly brackets around it, and I put the value of var_classify.text. So that's the variable that I'm setting the classification, the categorization in. Classification, categorization, same thing. So then that's where that one gets populated. So then I'll go ahead and classify that one, and that one's definitely hardware. And this one needs to, oh, I just kind of cut that off when I pasted it in there. Another thing that you might want to do is have it automatically do these. So I'll just say on change. On change, maybe I want to get the sentiment. So instead of having, we don't want the user to have to click a button to do this stuff, right? So I'm just going to copy that, and I'm going to go to the on change and put it here instead. And I'll just do a brand new form. And then this other one is going to be meeting room issues. And then as soon as I changed it. Oh yeah, did it automatically do that? No, was that already in there? Let me see, hold on. Oh yeah, it was already in there. It didn't clear the form out. Yeah, I guess I don't have it resetting the form. Hold on. New. I'm going to edit an existing one. No. Huh. Cancel. Oh, I had to cancel it. Okay, so I'm looking at existing ones here. These existing ones don't have sentiments. They do have hardware. Okay, so it's cleared out now. When I do a new one, it still says negative. That's just Power Apps laziness. Hold on. I'll put I'm going to move this. I just want to clear the form out. That's all. So I'm just kind of killing some time clearing this form, like doing it properly so that the field is clear when I start a new form. So instead of that, let's see. Okay. Okay, I'm not doing a new form. That one has no sentiment. Do a new form. Yeah, I think it just pre-populated it and it just won't go away. So what I'm going to do is just make this not read only so I can just manually change it. I don't feel like messing with, I could just close the entire thing and reopen it and then it would clear it out, but yeah, just delete that. If you ever break a data card or mess it up and you just need to reset it back, you can just delete it and re-add it. So that's what I did. Okay. Sentiment there. Okay. It's not that. So try to do the on change. And that's kind of what I was just testing, but the on change isn't doing anything. Like it's not triggering that. Yeah. On select might be it, but it's not on select. I really just want it to happen after. So, I'm not sure. Does anybody have any opinions on what they would use if they wanted it to just automatically do this while they're still filling the form out? Not doing it on change. No, all right. But it works with the button. Oh, okay. Is there a class for writing prompts? Oh yeah. I put a document in there too, Lisa, in the notes for it's like a prompt lesson. But we're actually adding Copilot. We're working on a course right now that will be in our classes of Copilot, writing prompts, and what you can do with Copilot, stuff like that. So sorry, I kind of got into the weeds with that one little demo, but basically I've got it functioning where you can use these different, refer to these different prompts, but it's just not automatically doing it as soon as I, exit out of that text box. Anybody, have y'all been brainstorming and thinking about what you might use this for? What do you think? Resumes, I came up with, help tickets, what else? You could tap into an entire database, and in here, if you want to extract information from an entire table in a database, you could do that. It just has to be Dataverse, but that's where that would be. And you would insert it, you would connect to your data, and then insert it in here like an input. Your brain can't storm. That's funny. All right, so I'll go ahead and just summarize everything you learned today. From the home screen here and the main Power App screen, you can go to AI Hub and go to AI Prompts. And this is where you have several different templates across the top that you can pick from. And we went over all these different concepts and what they mean. Or you could just start from scratch with a blank one without using a template. But once you've created it, then you can also share it with someone if you'd like. But everyone has to be licensed for it. And then once you've created it, then you can create a Power App and then add that as your data, and then use that by creating button or automation that will set a variable and then put the response from the AI in that variable so that you can then do something with it. I can try one more thing. Remember I said that I was going to wait till the end and see if I could get it to work. And that was going to be the user information in the reply. So when I use this reply, it was that extra one that I added. So the reply to help ticket, I added that user. So I'm going to see if I can add the user information into that prompt and see if it's refreshed itself, if it's been long enough. So I'm going to predict with that text, and I'm going to put user dot full name. Oh, it says it expects a record value. No, because I just had text in there. That's weird. Predict. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's not liking this information. It says it needed a record, but it doesn't make sense that it would need a record. So we could test it out and see what it's going to do. I'll put reply here. And, oh yeah. Missing mandatory input parameter user. Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of the biggest pain. Most of this has been really easy as I've been doing it. The biggest pain has been really just having multiple inputs and being able to show those. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure why it doesn't like that little syntax that I just used here. Maybe I put it in the wrong place. Predict dot blah. No, it just doesn't like having a piece of text as the user, but it's supposed to be accepting a piece of text here. So I'd have to troubleshoot that later. I'll go ahead and switch back over here to the other thing. Sorry. There's Joelle. Okay. Thanks everybody for coming. We're not having Power Hour next week. It's like Memorial Day week here in the US, and just gonna take that as a vacation. And then you can look on our schedule page for further Power Hours. You can go to iwmentor.com and click schedule at the top. And we have Power Hour most Wednesdays at 11 Central. So you can just tune in and fill out the form to request to join if you'd like to chat with us in Teams. So thanks everybody for coming, and check out our training at iwmentor.com. Thanks, Joelle.